your connection in Southern Oregon and Northern California. This is News 10 at 6.
Good evening, I'm Trish Close.
I'm Rick Tillery. Thanks for joining us. The president addressed the nation today, outlining his plans for gun control.
He signed 23 executive orders aimed at curbing gun violence. One of those directing the Centers for Disease Control to study gun violence. Another granting young people more access to mental health care. The orders being made with the hopes of saving lives.
If there's even one life that can be saved, then we've got an obligation to try.
The president also asked for background checks to be run on everyone who buys a gun and called for a ban on assault weapons and magazines with more than 10 rounds. The first hearing on the new proposals is set for January 30th.
Meanwhile, local sheriffs are voicing their opinions on the proposed bans. News 10's Caitlin Conrad is in the news center with tonight's top story at 6. Caitlin?
Rick, Trish, sheriffs in Southern Oregon and Northern California are saying no to a gun ban. Jackson County Sheriff Mike Winter says as long as he's in office, he'll uphold citizens' constitutional rights.
The sheriff's office is not going to be going against the Constitution, the Second Amendment, not in this county.
Sheriff Mike Winter says as long as he's sheriff, no one will be taking firearms out of the hands of Jackson County residents.
If the feds think they're going to take guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens, the federal agencies think that's not the case in this particular county.
He says he would go against a federal gun ban to protect the right to bear arms. Winters isn't the only one sticking firm to the Second Amendment.
The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and I believe it should be honored.
Siskiyou County Sheriff John Lopey says he doesn't think a ban on certain rifles or magazines would stop mass shootings like the one in Connecticut.
You know, in 35 years in law enforcement, I am absolutely convinced that, taking firearms away from law-abiding citizens is not the way to attack this violent crime problem.
Which is why he's taking action and writing to lawmakers.
Well, I plan to send a letter to the president and also plan to send a letter to Senator Feinstein here in California.
In Josephine County, Sheriff Gilbertson says he wrote to Vice President Biden Wednesday morning, arguing against a gun ban. Winter says he hasn't written a letter to Washington yet, but he has spoken to local lawmakers, hoping the president will reconsider an executive order and wait for Congress to pass a bill.
The voice of the people, and the sheriff is one of those voices, and just arbitrarily rule like a dictator.
Winter says he thinks Washington is acting too fast.
You know, what we do need to do is have the debate, have the dialogue.
And he says that isn't what's happening. We also spoke with Klamath County sheriffs this morning. While Sheriff Scraw isn't writing any letters, he did say his support lies with the Second Amendment as well. Covering more news, Caitlin Conrad, News 10.
Our News 10 Facebook friends also responding to the president's proposals. Lynette says it shouldn't matter whether you can have assault rifles or high-capacity magazines. Important thing is gun owners can keep their guns and rifles that serve a purpose. Sasha thinks the ban will not be helpful, saying most of the guns used in crimes are not registered or were stolen. She adds criminals will find a way to get the guns they want. Denise thinks the money would be better spent making school buildings more secure. One idea, installing security cameras and buzzers by doors which can only be opened by office staff. We want to know what you think about the president's gun control proposals. Friend News 10 on Facebook and join the conversation.